Okay. We're going to call this meeting to order. October 26th. And where are we here? The Pledge of Allegiance. Follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With liberty and justice. Are there any announcements? Hello?
I think invocation for next, Mr. President.
Okay. Bob, you want to do it?
Follow you can probably follow along with me. I use the same prayer every time. It's
Okay.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Good job. Good. Okay, roll call.
Director Arthur Perry.
Here.
Director Michael Schaefer.
Here.
Secretary Arlene Schaefer.
Here.
Vice President Robert Uden.
Here.
President James Fairman.
Present.
Thank you. And just one housekeeping matter. If everyone will mute their mics, please, until it's your turn to speak, that will be helpful with the feedback. Thank you.
Okay. Announcement of late communications. Anything?
Yes, Mr. President, we did receive late communication from Mr. Mosier's. He submitted that this afternoon, and I believe Nalani Midway, our district clerk, had disseminated his communications, his written communications to the board today.
Okay. So we'll review those later. Ceremonial matters and presentations. Are there anything tonight for us to do?
No, Mr. President.
Okay. Consent calendar.
We need to do public comments, Mr. President.
Are there? Okay, I'm sorry. Public comments at this time it's been set aside for persons in the audience to make commitments on items within the subject matter and jurisdiction of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District that are not listed on the agenda. Is there anything that would warrant that?
I don't believe.
If not, we're going to go to public comment. No public comments?
I don't believe there's anyone. I don't believe there's anyone from the public.
Jim? Okay. Approve the consent calendar.
Move for approval of the consent calendar as presented.
Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Okay, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Adopt directory for compensation and reinforcement of expenses.
Mr. President, we're on item number E1, receive and file the first quarter budget report for fiscal year 2021.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, if that's okay with you, I'm gonna turn it over to Caitlin Tran and she's gonna give this report.
Okay, please.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. In front of you is the first quarter budget review for fiscal year 2020-21. Based on the limited spending trends through September 30th, 2020, staff is projecting the solid waste fund to have a savings of and the wastewater fund is projected to meet the budgeted amount on June 30th, 2021. Please note that projections with only 3 months or less of activity as the basis should not be relied upon. As the year progresses, these projections become more precise. As of September 30th, a total of 24.4% of the solid waste budget has been expended. The trash hauler account, based on the last year trends and the last 3 months data, staff projects this account to have a savings of $55,900 at fiscal year end. The savings in this account will offset the over budget amount in the organics disposal account. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, people are continuing to work from home and generating additional solid waste. Staff anticipates the organics disposal account to be over budget by $55,900. The projected savings from the trash hauler, as mentioned earlier, will offset this amount. The schedule in the report shows the organics tonnage as of September 30th. The overall disposal is up 7.6% compared to last year's first quarter. Professional development and training. A few conferences and training at the beginning of the fiscal year has been canceled due to the pandemic. As a result, staff projects this account to have a savings of $5,735 on June 30th, 2021. Liability insurance. SDRMA had notified the district last fiscal year of a 21 rate increase for fiscal year 2020-21. As a result, this caused the liability insurance account to be over budget by $4,935. The savings from other accounts will offset this amount. For special programs budget of $151,000 is projected to have a savings of $75,000 by year end. Due to the pandemic, many programs have been postponed or canceled. As of September 30th, a total of 23.8% of the wastewater fund operating budget has been expended. As of September 30th, the district has one vacant position, the district engineer. The engineer position is in the recruiting process and is anticipated to be filled by January 2021. Staff projects the personnel budget will be over budget by $76,300 at fiscal year end due to the in-house district engineer position. However, the projected savings in the contractual district engineer budget will offset this amount.
I got you back.
Engineering services account reflects the district engineer charges for general activities such as preparing board reports, attending meetings. The board of directors approved an in-house district engineer position starting this fiscal year. Staff anticipates the new incumbent will start in January 2021 and will take over the duties from the contractual engineer. Staff expects this account to have a savings of $33,000, which will offset the salaries and benefits for the in-house district engineer. For plan checking and inspection account, the in-house district engineer and inspector will take over the contractual engineering and inspections. Staff expects to have a savings of $75,000 from this account, and the savings will offset the personnel account. As mentioned earlier, a few conferences and trainings at the beginning of the fiscal year has been canceled. Staff projects the wastewater staff development account to have a savings of $9,000 by year end. Liability insurance account is over budget in the wastewater fund by $43,600 due to the 21% rate increase. The savings from other accounts will offset this account. As for revenues, the annual charges as of September 30th, the district has yet to receive any apportionments from the annual assessment for this fiscal year. The first apportionment should be in November. Investment earnings. The district has received approximately $64,000 in investment earnings for the first quarter, which is 29% less than last fiscal year first quarter. As of September 30th, the district receives about 67% less in revenues from the sewer permits and inspection fees compared to last fiscal year first quarter. The district has received the annual contribution from CR&R, and the solid waste and wastewater charges for services are on target. So that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yes, I have a question, Scott, if I could.
Sure.
Scott, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, back to the plan checking and inspections. It says the in-house district engineer and inspector will take over the contractual engineering and inspecting. Is that still the case, or is Rob Hamers and Associates going to still do the inspecting?
Primarily, Bao, our engineering inspector, is doing most of the inspections right now. The only project I foresee where Rob Hamers and Associates will assist us on inspecting is on project 318, the President Pump Station. I've asked Bao if he needed assistance, and he acknowledged that project is complicated, and he feels more comfortable if he had someone with him, someone more seasoned to help him with the inspections. So you'll see later on the agenda is a contract administration and inspections proposal from Robin Hamers Associates, and that includes inspection services. So we will have a combination of inspection service for that project. Other than that, pretty much everything else Bao is doing himself.
Can he handle that right now?
Yes. He seems he's fine. So I meet with him every 2 weeks, and he lets me know what's going on. And if we do need to back up, Mike's there, or his inspector is available if we need them.
Is he currently still doing his other job that he has?
Who's that?
Bao.
Yes, he's the permits. Yes, he's still doing plan checking, issuing permits. He's still doing that. Yes.
Is that going to change in the future if inspections get larger and more meaningful?
Yes, it could. It's possible. We do cross-train. So like Tanisha in our front office, she can issue permits if she needed to. So if inspection starts picking up and we see Bao out there a lot, we do have staff that fill the void. Also, I foresee the district engineer can help with inspection service as well. So again, I think there's plenty of coverage to cover the front office as well as providing inspections.
Okay, yeah, it just depends on what district engineer you hire. He has that, inspector.
That's our expectations. Yes, correct.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay.
I have no other questions, Jim. Okay, any other questions to the general manager's report, or we already, let's see.
So Mr. President, the next item is carry appropriations and carryover encumbrances for fiscal year 2019-20 to fiscal year 2021. And again, I'm going to turn this over to Caitlin, if that's okay. Okay, Caitlin, it's all yours.
Thank you. In front of you is the carryover appropriation and carryover encumbrances for fiscal year 2019-20 to fiscal year 2020-21. All appropriations lapse at the end of each fiscal year. Therefore, it is necessary to request certain unspent appropriations for goods or services to be carried over into the subsequent fiscal year. The carryover appropriations represent budgeted fiscal year 2019-20 appropriations for goods or services that were not as of June 30th, 2020, but are expected to be expended in the fiscal year 2020-21. Encumbrances represent purchase orders issued or goods and services which were not received or completed during the prior fiscal year by June 30th, but are expected to be received or completed in the subsequent fiscal year. Staff recommends the Board of Directors to approve the reappropriations of funds in the fiscal year 2020-21 for the carryover items from the prior fiscal year as detailed in attachments A and B. In the Solid Waste Fund, carryover appropriations of $6,628 and carryover encumbrances of $35,245. In the Wastewater Fund, carryover appropriations of $3,271,957. Of that amount, $24,691 is the remaining balance of Project 321 that was completed in fiscal year 2019-20. Staff is asking the Board of Directors to carry over the balance and consider approving a budget adjustment transfer from Project 321 Indus Phase 2 to Project 309 City Manhole Adjustment, and approve the wastewater carryover encumbrances of $88,011. That's conclude my report.
Any questions or motions?
Why are we carrying over conference monies that haven't been expended? We have budgeted some of that for this year, probably an appropriate amount, and I don't believe that we'll. Or Caitlin, why do we need to carry over that conference money?
Conference?
Was it conference? Did you say conference?
Yeah, it was conference money. And we aren't going to the conference, right?
No. I'm not asking for conferences, staff development account. Maybe it's the encumbrances.
Oh, the encumbrances. Okay, I misunderstood.
Carryover encumbrances and carryover appropriations.
Okay, sorry.
We need a motion to approve this.
Yes, we do.
I'll make a motion to approve the carryover appropriations and carryover encumbrances.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're moving down to receive and file January through September performance measurement report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So this is your quarterly report. This is your report for January through September 2020 of this year. So this is all the data we collected from the 9 months of 2020. Nolani, if you could scroll down on the staff report, please, a little bit. Thank you. Yeah, a little bit there. So a couple of things I just want to highlight on the first 9 months is actually the first bullet point there. Calorie Cycles on the Calorie Cycle website, they finally have on their website their 2019 data for disposal rate per person. And as you see in Costa Mesa residents, it is 4.6 pounds per person, which is 15% less than 2018 and almost half of what the target solution is, which is 8 pounds per person, which is great. I think that you could definitely contribute that to CMSD's programs. However, as you heard from Caitlin earlier this evening, the amount of tonnage is going up. I think we increased about 7% so far, and that is contributed to COVID due to recyclables not being able to process because the processing centers cannot practice social distancing. So we know some of the recyclables are being discarded in the landfills. So don't be surprised in 2020 to see that number go up. I'm sure it's still be under the target of 8 pounds per person, but again, I don't anticipate that number to be at 4.6 pounds or even less in 2020. That's really all in what I really want to highlight. But then there's some other bullet points here I highlighted. If you want to have any questions or you want to talk about it, I'm happy to answer any questions you may
I have a question. I've been asked by quite a few people, when is the recycling going to open at OCC? And I know,
yeah, we heard it end of this month. I haven't confirmed that, but
Okay.
I'll double check and get back to you. I heard it end of this month, which is obviously this week. But I haven't heard anything lately. So let me get back to you. I'll find out this week and I'll report back to the board.
thank you very
It
Okay.
says on our agenda that it's going to open January 2021. Somewhere in our agenda here, it's agenda package.
Really?
Oh, did it, the OCC Recycling Center?
Yes, that's what I mean. I read through that, and I don't know where it is right now, but I read through
Okay.
that. It was going to be
Really?
January 2021.
I'll still confirm. I'll still confirm that and give that information to the board.
I thought they were going to open sooner than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope
Thank you.
so, but that's what I had read.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay,
Just going to receive and file.
Yes. Receive and file.
receive and file. Yeah.
Yes.
Are we on item 5 then?
Item number 4. This is our receive and file for the 2025 strategic plan quarterly update for the first quarter of 2021. So, Mr. President and the board of directors, this is our first quarterly report for our new 2020-25 strategic plan, our ambitious plan, a very ambitious plan. As I mentioned in the staff report, there's 131 strategic goals that we're trying to achieve in the 5 years compared to 48 we had in the last 5 years. But we're definitely on our way. I'm very excited to report that 77 of those goals are already in progress, and as you see in the staff report, we have already achieved some of those goals in the first 3 months of the plan. So we're well on our way. I want to thank Nolani and her staff for helping me upload the information on a quarterly report. And now I'm just happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Scott?
No, that's great.
Yeah, that's progress. Okay, we're down to item 5.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So this is an item I don't enjoy presenting to the board or the public, because it's dealing with a sewer spill that unfortunately we had to deal with on October 2nd. But the reason why I had to bring this to the board, one, for transparency purposes, but also because it was an emergency, I authorized contracts without doing the proper bidding process, because it was an emergency, and according to our code, I have authority to do that, but I didn't have to bring forward to you why I did that. And obviously it was an emergency. It was a sewer spill. As you see in the report, the air release valve belonged to the Eldon Force Main that's located inside that's inside the Mesa Drive overpass bridge over the 55 freeway was inside there. The air release valve clogged and spilled over the top of that valve, and then it went underneath the bridge, down a concrete embankment, and onto a Caltrans storm drain. So the good news is that it wasn't, if there is any good news for a sewer spill, there really isn't, but I guess you could say that the spill was a slow moving spill. It wasn't as large as the one occurred in 2018. Also, it happened during the day, so during the regular business days, so we were able to respond quickly, get there quickly to block the storm drain and capture the sewer spill. And then we had the biggest challenge is it was cleaning the storm drain, the Caltrans storm drain. So we coordinated with Caltrans officials on strategizing a plan. But before we did that, we wanted to test the inside the storm drain to see if there really is any fecal matter in there, or did it go into the waterways and into the Delhi Channel. Well, that cost over $5,000, and so again, that was actually cost $11,000, which is anything over $5,000 we have to acquire bids. But because this was an emergency, I authorized this contract without bidding procedures. We test sampled 8 samples of sludge, and it came back positive. And the reason why we believe it came out positive is because inside the storm drain there is a lot of debris, a lot of dirt and grit that we believe dammed up the wastewater or any kind of fecal matters. In fact, if you see in the attachment of the staff report are pictures of the cleanup and the amount of debris that they removed from the storm drain. So I think that's evidence that there was quite a bit in there. So that's why we believe we captured all the wastewater and put it back into the collection system. Caltrans agrees with us on that assessment that it's all been captured and it has now been cleaned. Unfortunately, that cost was very expensive. As you can see, we spent about $89,000 on testing, cleaning up that spill. So the big question is, well, what are we going to do to prevent this from happening in the future, right? Everyone wants to know. We need to get this. We need to make sure this does not happen again. And so Mike Benesh, our interim district engineer, has a great idea, and he thinks this can work. And that's simply removing the air release valve. Just take it out of there. He thinks we can just remove it, which eliminates the problem altogether, which is great. But again, that's going to be expensive because Eldon force main is our largest force main. It's 3,750 gallons per minute. And so we'd have to remove that air release valve during the early morning hours, and we'd have to divert all the wastewater, which means a lot of pumper trucks. And that's where the money really comes in, is the pumper trucks. So Mike is finishing up those designs right now. That is a #1 priority for him. It's a high priority for him to get those done. So then we have to get it through the Caltrans permitting process, which, as you know, can take some time. But fortunately, my connection with Caltrans, I think they can help us push it through quickly. And then we can get a contractor to get that removed. He's also, and I'll have Mike, if you have any questions, Mike can answer these questions. But another air release valve we have concerns with is the one on 21st Street, which is right over the 55 freeway. It's in the middle of the bridge over the 55 freeway. If that leaks, it's almost impossible to get to. So we want to relocate that valve as well. So Mike's working on that as well. So to fund this program, to fund this project, also we don't have the money for it. It's not budgeted. So my recommendation is to allocate the money from project 327, the calcium removal project, phase 1, which is, if you scroll down a little bit further, the line of the financial section, please. There we go. So we have $429,000 available for that project. My recommendation is to allocate that money from 327 and appropriate to the new project, which is now 333, removing the air release valve at Eldon force main. So that's my staff report for tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, I have a question, Scott. All you have to do is just shut the thing off. There's a ball valve there that you shut it off when staff does maintenance. I think it's a little the amount that you're taking from the ductile iron corrosion removal project is way too high. I can't imagine that this is going to be, well, I think we ought to allocate something substantially less and then get an engineer's estimate, to refine it and, not completely eliminate the ductile iron corrosion removal project. It was a master planned project. It's got to have some urgency. Basically you can just shut the thing off now, and then let Mike come back with an estimate of what the cost is. Do you need some of that money for the, for the various cleanup stuff that you've done?
Yes, let me, if I can respond to a couple of your questions and concerns. One, the air release valve is currently shut off. It is shut off.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's one thing. Secondly, we're not transferring the money from the ductile iron, we're transferring the money from the calcium removal project.
Yeah.
The ductile iron project is still ongoing, and I agree. That's like, you have the air release valve project #1, and close behind is the ductile iron project, which Mike is working on that as well. So this is the calcium removal, which I don't believe there's a great dire need right now to remove calcium from our system. That's why I think we can allocate money from this project, the calcium removal project, to the Eldon force main project. And the reason why I'm asking, you're right, I don't have an engineer's report, but I'd rather come back to the board once than coming back twice. Maybe, if I allocated
okay. My question is when will Mike come back with an estimate of costs for these projects? And why did we have $500,000 or $429,000 on the books and it's been there for quite a long time. What was the importance of putting that on there? Was that just to do studies and things?
Well, let me have Mike answer. Mike, if you could answer Vice President Newton's question about an estimated cost.
Yeah, the cost for Eldon is mainly going to be the shutdown cost and bypassing the system while we remove the valves. And I agree with you. It's not critical to do it now since we have it shut down, but we don't know how long that valve's going to last before it starts leaking. I talked to the maintenance people, and they do not have a high confidence level in it. So we should do it sooner rather than later. And I'll come up with a cost for that. I'm talking to contractors now about how much it's going to cost to bypass it. It should be a very quick operation. It just takes a lot of coordination to get it done.
Well, why do we have to go through that if we just, why can't we just shut the valve off? I mean, like we do when we do maintenance on the air release valve.
We do have the valve shut off now, but the fear is that the valve itself, the shut off valve, is going to leak. The seals and stuff, because it's an old valve and it's just not a very good condition.
Okay.
Mike, this is Arlene. Do you have any kind of estimate or thought of what Caltrans will come back with for us?
For this particular one, since we're really not doing any big construction, we're just going to go inside the bridge, remove the valves, cap it off, and then we're done. I don't think they're going to come back with a lot on that other than traffic control and a few other things.
Agreed.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Scott, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You mentioned you're going to remove, or are you going to relocate it, the valve, or just remove it?
The plan is to remove the Eldon valve, but the 21st Street valve will relocate. We can't just simply remove it. So we were going to relocate that one and then remove the Eldon one.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's good. Okay, because I heard you say that word and I didn't know what you meant.
Yeah.
How many of these? Does anybody know how many of these air release valves we have in the system?
Mike,
Yes.
do you know that?
Yeah, there's 9 of them.
And these are historically difficult to maintain devices.
Yes, they're very much a weak spot in the whole system.
Yeah, I mean.
So let me ask Mike, is it possible we can eliminate some other air release valves?
I'm looking into it. The geometry has to be just right to do it. Fortunately, Eldon's is.
Okay.
As you said, 21st isn't, and the ones on Irvine, I don't think we can remove those either.
Okay. The fewer we have to maintain, the better.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should have a study session item on this particular item. If there's 9 or 11 of them,
There's 9.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to look and see what kind of costs, obviously, is included with all that development. I mean, we got to have a pretty good handle on that, don't we?
Yeah, but Jim, these have been they're probably 5 of our sanitary sewer overflows within the last 5 years. Irvine has overflowed a couple times. This thing a couple times. These are high risk items, and we need to learn a little bit more about them.
I would agree with Vice President Uden's statement there that of the recent SSOs, I think their air release valves are the ones we're seem to be having difficult with. Other SSOs, something we really can't control over when people pour grease down the system or they put illegal objects down. There's nothing we can do about that. But the air release valve we can, and I think Vice President Uden's correct. We need to maybe zone in on those a little bit more, pay more attention to the air release valves.
Well, maybe the 429,000 is not enough.
Well,
Yeah.
let's hope not. I mean, it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to come back to the board again and ask for more money. So that's
Okay.
why that's.
Okay. I move approval.
I'll second it.
Any other questions? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Are we at 6 now?
Yes, Mr. President. So this is for your information. Later this evening, you'll be considering approving a contract with GCI for reconstruction of the President Pump Station. If you approve that contract tonight, then I just want to let the board be aware that I'm approving Robin Hamer's Associates proposal for contract administration and inspection services, and as well as engineering services, which is attached to your staff report. That total amount is over $100,000, which that I use to determine if Robin Hamer's Associates proposal is fair. Typically, industry standard construction administration inspection is about 10% of your construction cost. Robin Hamer's Associates proposal is well below 10%, so I'm comfortable with this proposal. So if you approve the contract tonight, then I'm approving the attached proposal before you tonight. So this is FYI.
I move approval.
There's no need to approve it, just for your information.
But yeah, okay, so this was in your authority.
Yes.
Okay, then we should move along to engineers' reports. Receive and file a monthly capital improvement project status report.
You have anything to report, Mike?
Yeah, just a quick update. We have 2 projects out to bid now. One is the manhole surface repairs, and the other is the brick manhole rehabilitation. So those are both out to bid, and I think bid opening for one is in November and the other is in the beginning of December. We're also working away on the ductile iron pipe project. We're hoping to have that out to bid next month, because that is a big priority at this point.
Mike, how many manhole rehab? How many do we rehab at a time in a phase?
The surface manhole, this time we have, I believe it's 36 of them.
Wow.
And the brick manholes, I believe there's, I want to say 10, but I could be wrong. Might be 12.
Oh, we have 4,500 of them, so they basically get on the books when staff or somebody notices that they need to be repaired.
Yeah, they give me a list of the ones they think should be repaired, and we take care of it.
If I could add on to that, the ones we're really concerned about are the brick manholes. So not all 4,500 manholes are made of brick. A lot of them, some of our concrete cast. So we're just concerned about the 4,500, about the brick manholes. Now, given there's still a lot of brick manholes out there, but there's not 4,500 of them.
Oh, well, I would say there's 80% of them. Or
yeah, I agree. There's a snippet. There's a lot. I don't get me wrong. There's a lot. But it's just not a whole lot. Yes.
Do we keep an inventory of this?
Of course.
So that we know time-wise and how much we put into each manhole time?
Yes, we definitely keep an inventory of our infrastructure.
Okay.
Okay. Move on to treasurer's report.
No, you got to approve project number 3, or consider approving a contract for project 318.
Right, yeah. Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Thanks, Mr. President, board members. This is your quarterly review of the investment report. This is for the month of September 2020. Today, the Dow was down a whole bunch. It was down 650 points, and that was primarily due to surges in the coronavirus that we're starting to see both here in the United States and across the globe, as well as the hopes that a stimulus package, an agreement can be reached related to a stimulus package can happen, and it's looking more and more doubtful that that's going to happen before the election. Your investments as of the month of September were earning 0.91% on a duration of 2.83 years. And really, there was no activity for the month of September. We had no investments matured, nothing was called, and we had no new investment purchases. First time we've seen that in a while. That changed in October. Already this month, we've had a couple investments called, and I fully expect to continue to see that if any of our investments have call features, that they will continue to be called. What I really wanted to point out this month was the redesign of your investment report. We've been using the same format of your investment report for really ever since you broke away from the city back in 2004, and even beyond that. And so it used to be about 10 pages. We've reduced it down to 6 pages. All the information's there before, but we put some of it more in a graphical form. And if I could really call your attention to page 3 of the investment report, which is where some of those graphs are at. We've put a pie chart in there on the percent of holdings by investment, so you can see pictorially what you're holding as opposed to trying to figure out just by looking at charts and tables. Kind of an interesting graph. Right next to that in the upper right, we've included the Cmsd lifetime rate. This is something that you've never really seen before. It shows really from the time that you broke away from the city what the portfolio was earning, and a chart showing from 2004 all the way to the present. And you can see at one point in time, back in right before the Great Recession happened, we were earning close to 4.5% on the portfolio, and then just before early 2013, that had dipped down to about 0.5%, and we're on our way back to that 0.5% again. We're going to get there at some point, I'm sure. The middle of that page shows your normal chart that you're used to seeing month in and month out, is just comparing our portfolio to some benchmarks. In the lower third of the page, we have on the left side of the number of investments by maturity, and then on the right side we have the dollar amount of those investments by maturity. So we've been doing this for about the last 3 months, this new report, but this is the first time we've had a quarterly discussion of that, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And really with that, that's all I have for this month. This is an action item, so if there are no questions, you do need to approve or consider approving the investment report for the month of September.
Move for approval of the investment report for the month of September as presented.
I'll
Any
second.
questions?
I'll
Yeah,
second.
this is Mike. I have a question for Mark.
Okay.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
has Leif really dropped that dramatically over the last year?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it has.
Why?
Leif is a very short-term investment. It needs to stay very highly liquid so that all the government agencies, that if they need to pull funds out, that they have same-day access to those funds. And so because it's so short-term, it's going to react more volatilely to the market.
Do we need? Aren't we obligated to keep a certain amount of funds in Leif?
No, not at all. It's completely at our discretion as to if we participate and how much we participate. We do use that for our short-term needs, and when we get next month, when we get our first small apportionment of our annual charge, and then definitely in December when we get our first big half payment of the annual charge, we end up putting that all in Leif because that takes us then through our dry season. We generally don't invest that in short-term CDs or anything, just because, again, then we're tying things up. But in Leif, we have that. I can call them up and I can get all the money out tomorrow if I need to.
Okay. Do you think that after the election is over that Leif will show some kind of up? Normally after elections, they do uptick a little bit, don't they?
Generally, the market sees a little bit of a bounce. This is pure Mark Davis guessing. I don't think that's going to happen just because of the way the global economy is right now and the U.S. economy, and then we're not going to see.
Yeah. Okay.
We're just not going to see any recovery for probably a couple of years. I'm expecting that we're going to see very low rates for probably 2 years to go.
Okay, I share your outlook. I mean, that's what I've been thinking, but I appreciate the comments, Mark. Thanks.
Any other questions of Mark?
No,
We need a motion.
I made the motion already.
I second it.
Okay, so it's been moved. Seconded. Any further discussion? Opposed? 4. Did I hear a second or not?
Yes, it was, I mean, Art,
Hello?
I made the second.
I made the motion.
Okay. Okay, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Local. Local meetings. The first one is we didn't have a administrative meeting last month from Orange County Sand District. But they're going to have a meeting of state of the district here in about a week, which should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So any, let's see.
Oh, Jim, I attended the operations committee meeting, and it was basically routine stuff. It was, coding, inspection, and testing services. They had some heat exchangers to repair, and other minor maintenance items. It was a pretty quick agenda.
Yeah, well, I'm not on that committee, so I didn't get to view it, but for some reason they canceled ours. But
yeah,
at any rate, Santa Ana River flood control.
No meeting this month, next month.
Okay. Independent Special District of Orange County.
Okay, I'm the one that'll take up some time, but not a lot. ISDOC was on September 1st, and at that meeting we had the election, and I will be in January the first vice president. First vice president of ISDOC. So that means I'll be doing the speakers and the luncheon. And then I reported on CSDA. And then on the 4th, it was, let's see. No, I'm sorry. We changed from Waco to the 11th. And so I attended that meeting. I don't have any backup with me. It's in another room, but I'd be glad to furnish it if needed. The Costa Mesa Sanitary District study session was on the 8th, and I went to a meeting at 9 o'clock on the solid waste on the 9th, and then let's see, on the 11th, okay, then the 11th was the Waco meeting, and that was the 15th was Bob and I went to the one-to-one managers meeting. And on the 26th, I did a Costa Mesa Sanitary District 9 o'clock special meetings Zoom. And the water policy meeting was on the 23rd. I attended that through a Zoom, and it was a forum from 10:30 to 12. And it involved the Delta, which was very, very interesting. And the water master talked about it. And it's kind of scary, but I'm glad to see it on the agenda. And then on the 28th was our regular meeting, which we have tonight. That's it.
Thank you. Mike, are you up next?
Yeah, we have our SDRMA board meeting next week, so there's nothing else to report at this point.
Okay. Where are we here? Other meetings qualifying for reimbursement under Cmsd.
I have a couple things, Jim.
Yeah.
Go back to that ISDOC executive meeting. LAFCO is going to raise their dues 2 to 5%. And then Joan Finnegan reported that the dues holidays again for next year because they still have a balance in the account of over $12,000, almost $13,000. So we won't be sending any money to ISDOC for membership.
Right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I was watching too.
Thank you.
And then a couple things. I listened to the Planning Commission meeting. It was a long meeting, and they discussed, I don't know if you guys are aware of it, that placement of one gasoline dispenser with 2 hydrogen dispensers and a 40-foot tall vent stack at 2995 Bristol Avenue. And it was approved 7-0. So they're getting rid of a gas dispenser for hydrogen dispenser.
Oh.
Which is kind of different. This is the second one in the city. And the owner, I think the other one's on Harbor Boulevard. And then they discussed the application of Randy's Donuts coming to Costa Mesa at 2930 Harbor Boulevard. And it's proposed a 23-foot high freestanding sign in the shape of a donut in the front of the property. And it was approved 6-0 because one of the members of the Planning Commission had to disqualify himself from making a vote. And then they had the first reading of Code CO 2020, request to amend portions of the municipal code to be consistent with state law. So that was just the first reading. And then the meeting with Scott, it was Arlene and I met on the 20th, and we talked about district projects and improvements and the budget requests that we'll be discussing tonight. And then the board meeting tonight. And then I'll be attending the ISDOC luncheon next Thursday, I believe, at 11:30.
Mm-hmm. 29th.
Okay.
It's the 29th.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other? Do you have anything?
Jim, this is Mike.
Let's go.
I have a question. Under other meetings, I have a question for Scott. Scott,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Scott.
Yes.
All right. So, a member of the public keeps questioning our Form 806 form on stipends and things. Can you fill us in on what's going on with that?
Unfortunately, I don't have anything to report.
I can answer that one for you, Scott, if you'd like.
Thank you. Yes, please bail me out.
Form 806 is updated every 2 years. I don't know about the expert, but I'll try and help answer it. So the Form 806 is updated every 2 years, and with the next upcoming election, there will be a new appointment of officers to the different committees. So at that time, we will update that form once again and place that on the website. There's nothing to be concerned.
So essentially, this Form 806 delineates which outside committees we as board members get assigned to. Is that right?
That is correct.
It's my opinion, and consistent with what Nolani's saying, is that this is an appointment to another body outside our district for which you receive compensation.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not as broad as that member of the public wanted to make it. It's, you don't need to list every time you go to a meeting. That's district business. It's only when you're appointed to another body.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the clarification. That's it.
Alan?
Hey, Jim, I have one more item that I think all of us attended, was that Waco meeting on October 2nd. And we had 3 speakers from the Metropolitan Water, Maria Lopez on water purification, Warren Tellis on resource development, and Bill Hassenkamp on Colorado resources. And it was a really interesting meeting. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah.
I think all of us got a lot of good educational items from that. And I think anybody else want to add to that?
Well, they basically a lot of their topics revolved around the salinity in the Colorado River, and it had to do with the reservoirs and and the rain in different places, and the salinity actually in both in the upper and lower Colorado River. It was interesting, what the reservoirs can do, and or a drought can do, or the groundwater, or the farming, or a lot of different aspects of that affect salinity in the river. And we use a lot of Colorado River water.
Right. Yeah, Mexico is being very aggressive in that Mexican the borders, and that's been brought up many times now.
Yeah, yeah. When the water gets to Mexico, it's not. It's very salty water.
Oh, I know.
Can I make another comment about that? The Colorado River, there's nearly 10 million tons of salt that pass over the Hoover Dam each year, which is really significant.
Yeah.
That's from that same Waco meeting.
Okay. Alan, did I miss you, or
Yes, Mr. President, but I did not have anything scheduled. I just wanted to
okay.
Let everyone know that I send everyone a memo about the Summerlin case, beautiful Summerlin Sanitary District up there by Carpinteria. And the two takeaways from that case are that you're never done with Prop 218. You can be challenged later. And secondly, that expert made an issue of multiple family being a lesser demand and deserving a lesser proportionate charge than single family. And fortunately, our code and our study takes that into account. So we're good there.
Good. Okay, thank you for those comments. New business. We have oral communications and director comments.
I have a question. Can I have a question for Bob?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bob, can you still hear me?
Yes.
What did you want me to ask the golf course? Exactly what you want me to ask them when I talk to them about their sewage and their.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can talk about that in the closed session.
Okay, sounds good. That'd be better. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Okay. Any other oral communications from the directors? If not, we're going to adjourn to a closed session. And it's just obviously for the board of directors attendance. So we'll have to ask everybody else to leave.
No, they can stay and I will move the board.
Okay.
This is Bronte. I'll be leaving, and it was a pleasure to be able to sit in and listen to you folks. And I wish you very well and stay safe the rest of this year.
The same to you, Vic.
Bye now.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, let's go to closed session. With the legal counsel, existing litigation, paragraph 1 of subdivision section.
Join. You have to say.
Okay. Has to do with Riverwatch versus Costa Mesa Sanitary District.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Who's
Well, Nalani, all we have to do is adjourn the meeting.
And report that no reportable action was taken.
Yeah, and report out that there was no reportable action taken in the closed section. So, and unless anyone has anything else to comment on, this meeting is adjourned.
Night.
Good.
Bob, I got the information I needed.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.